Jack. We're in here having dinner, and Mommy was going to show you again what I'm having tonight. Tonight I am having some tomatoes and artichokes. Hi there, Jack. The sun is just coming up here at the space station. Pretty cool, huh, buddy? George was watching with me, too. We like to watch the sunrise. I miss you, sweetheart, and I love you. I love you, sweetheart. I miss you. I love you guys. Watch this. Mama can fly like a superhero.
I'm Karen Nyberg, and I was an astronaut for 20 years. I flew my first space flight in 2008 on Space Shuttle Discovery, and it was only a 2-week mission, and that was before I was married with a child. And then I flew my second time in 2013 and lived on the International Space Station for almost 6 months. My son was 6 months old when I was assigned to the mission, and then I trained for 2.5 years, so he was 3 years when I flew. It's almost ready. You gonna eat dinner with your headphones in? Maybe. Go get Debbie. So pretty much from the time we started dating, we've been going nonstop. Doug flew in 2009, and then we had Jack in 2010, and then he flew in 2011.
We got married in there too.
We got married in there too. Yeah, that's right. That's a.
You can imagine how difficult for a mother to leave, you know, a child that's 3 years old. You know, with Jack, he's such a good kid. At about the 6-week period after she had launched, he looked at me and he said, "When's Mommy coming home?" And I'm like, "All right, buddy." This one's gonna be a little longer.
And I made sure that he met my crewmates, so he knew, you know, who I was living with. We'd go outside and show him the space station go over and say that's where Mommy's going to live.
Karen sent a video down every night. The one I think he really loved. We have these huge storage bags on space station. They zipped her in this giant storage bag, and then she popped out of it. I think he really related to that.
Hello, Jack. Can you believe Mommy fits in that bag? I love you, sweetheart. I miss you.
Yeah, so I landed in Kazakhstan and came back on a NASA airplane to Ellington Field in Houston. And they let the families on board the airplane first before we got off. And my husband came down the aisle and my son, and when he first looked at me, I could tell that he was trying to process, because he had been only seeing me over a video for 6 months. And so there was kind of this, is that really Mommy? And then, of course, the big hugs and the reunion. The hardest part, which I did prepare myself for, was when I came back, that he would not want to come to me immediately. The first night, he didn't want me to put him to bed. And it was really hard, but I had mentally prepared for that, so that was helpful.
Having astronaut parents is kinda surreal. It's cool, but I don't really think about it too often.
If you could go to any planet in the solar system, which one would you choose?
Probably like Neptune.
Why Neptune?
Well, I mean, I kinda wanna get a hold of them.
So do you think there's life anywhere other than on Earth?
Yeah.
When I first decided that I wanted to be an astronaut, I was 8 or 9 years old. And at that same time, in 1978, NASA had selected the first class with female astronauts, and Anna Fisher was one of those. It never seemed like I can't do that because I'm a girl. And I think seeing those first women do it was so inspirational and motivating.
My name is Dr. Anna Fisher. I'm a mission specialist astronaut. I was selected in the first group of women for the Space Shuttle program in January of 1978. In becoming an astronaut, I was never at all trying to break barriers. That wasn't what I was thinking about. I was just thinking about this dream that I'd had since I was 12 years old, and that's what I wanted to do. I think women always felt a little more pressured. People were just watching you more carefully, or just more curious. Well, just in general, when I look at how the internet works now and look back at first when the first 6 of us were selected, I can only imagine what kind of comments there would have been, and I'm so glad we didn't have to deal with that. And then, of course, when I flew as the first mom, I mean, I got lots of questions from the press, both favorable and unfavorable, you know, saying, how could you leave your daughter, and that sort of stuff. And I just cannot imagine what it would have been like not only deal with your own feelings about what you were doing, but other people's judgment about what you were doing. It would have just made it so much more difficult. I made the decision to not tell them I was pregnant until I absolutely had to. I wanted to minimize the time that anyone thought of me as different. And so I had to do a lot of things, like we had an emergency egress drill where we had to demonstrate we could pull a big 200-pound man out of a shuttle. I did all those things while I was pregnant without telling anyone, so that the responsibility was solely my decision, not NASA's. So by that time, there was only about another 4 months before Kristen was born. My boss called me in and asked and said he was thinking of assigning me to a flight, and how did I feel about it? And, you know, I was 8 months pregnant when he called me in, and I said, it's what I've always wanted. I can do it. So yes, I would love to do that. And so I had Kristen on Friday, July 29th, 1983, on a Friday. Monday, I was in at the Monday morning 8 o'clock meeting that we had, not because I was trying to be some kind of superwoman or anything, but I just wanted, particularly all my male colleagues, to know that just because I had a baby, that I was very committed and I was going to honor my commitment to my flight.
So my entire life, I've had two passions that I've followed, and one of them, of course, was space, because that's what I ended up going with my career. But I also was into art and creating things. Now what I'm trying to do is take kind of the experiences I've had and what I've done in space and transition that into art pieces. We're coming up with a line using photos I took from space as inspiration, turning those into a quilting fabric. I'm working with a company called Svaha that makes STEM-inspired clothing, mostly for women and girls. We do often put little girls and little boys in a box of what they should be interested in. I did a design for them, which I'm pretty excited about, because I decided to go with dinosaurs in space. What I like about this design is space, which is really open to everybody, and it should be open to everybody because we're all the same small little part of this universe. You know, there really is no reason why dinosaurs should be for boys. And so just putting the two together, I think, hopefully will inspire the little girls that like both of those. You know, I can like this too, and it's okay. Knowing I would have some downtime on space station since I'm living there, I brought a little bit of fabric with me, and I wanted to spend some time sewing. One day, I had a Sunday where I had no work to do. I had been collecting this fabric that lines the Russian food containers. So I decided to make a dinosaur for my son, who loved dinosaurs. And so I spent that day, I drew a pattern and I cut it out and I sewed it together with the little bit of thread I had and some needles that I had brought. And then I cut up an old t-shirt that I was done wearing that was going to be thrown away and stuffed it with that. And he still has it today.
This is a toy dinosaur that my mom made on the space station. It is the first toy made in space. It was made for me and I keep it up. It's really cool.
The best part of motherhood, I think, is just simple times like this. When I was in space, the stuff that I really craved was just having breakfast with the family, reading to Jack, and I really miss those things and that part of it. I think it's been pretty amazing to watch a child develop and just, you know, every phase of his life and just the new things he learned and the new things he knew. It's just been really amazing to see all the phases of their lives as they get older.